Week 14 of the NFL is in the books. And it was a great week. The Green Bay Packers clinched the NFC North. They're currently number one in the NFC. Wildflower got his crown. And I'm back on top in predictions.
I mean, you were always on top. Just no.
Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom, always on top, Grossi.
And I'm Jade Grossi.
I didn't even do it. And we are back for another week of predictions. Jade?
Ow.
After today's episode, only 2 weeks left in the regular season.
Great.
And then it's playoffs.
Great. That means less games to predict.
It's true.
All right.
I just want to make sure your blanket is nice and in view. No purple garbage here. Because, Jade, I'm pretty sure you picked the Vikings to win last week, didn't you? And if I'm not mistaken, hold on, let me just confirm that real quick with my secretary. Yeah, was there Vikings action? Oh, you did. They didn't, though. You didn't. Oh, and you picked the Browns. Remember the faith that you had? Yeah, that's went down the toilet with Lamar Jackson's poo.
Yeah, anyway, didn't I win the Bills versus, what was it, the Steelers or whatever? Because I said the Juju and the Bills won?
Yeah.
Yeah, so your whole argument here is a moot point.
The Vikings are a moot point. So last week I went 10-6, something that the Bears can only dream about. 136-71-1 on the season, while Jade went 8-8. Which is where the Vikings are heading. 125-82-1 on the season. So I got a nice 11-point buffer. Nice 11-point gap. Let's see if Jade can make some headway this week.
I won't.
There's that confidence. Starting off with our Thursday game, you got the LA Chargers taking on the Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, their playoff hopes are gone. Circling down the drain. Because the Colts flushed them last week. Meanwhile, in the Chargers game, the Falcons choked just a bit more than the LA Chargers did. And so the Chargers were able to get a W. This game is kind of inconsequential now, as the Raiders are really not looking too good. And, of course, the terrible news coming out today that Henry Ruggs Go Fast has gone on the COVID-19 list.
Oh, no.
So we wish him a fast recovery. It's very sad. The Chargers have an opportunity to pull this game off, but I think the Raiders, even though they don't really have much to play for, I think they're going to come out swinging. It's a home game for them, and the Chargers barely beat the Falcons. So I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Sure.
Top-notch analysis. Then on Saturday, that's right, we got 2 Saturday games. First, you got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. The Broncos and Drew Lock look pretty damn good. Drew Lock was just like, I can sling that ball home, baby. But my season's still full of pain, oh yeah. The Bills, however, defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jade had faith in you the entire time, Bills Mafia, even though she tried to curse you.
No, I always pick the Bills.
That's not true.
Well, most of the time I pick the Bills.
That's more accurate. The Bills smacking around the Steelers emotionally, as now the Steelers are in a 2-game slump, and Josh Allen was able to put together a pretty darn good game, and that defense played really, really well. The Broncos, well, you had a nice feel-good story last week. This is when it's back to reality. The Buffalo Bills will take this game.
Bills.
Meowing our way into our next game, you have the Carolina Panthers taking on the Green Bay Packers. The number 1 Green Bay Packers. It looks like CMC, Christian McCaffrey, is not going to be playing this Saturday night, and so an already uphill battle for the Panthers is going to be made that much worse. Meanwhile, Davante Adams has set a franchise record, 8 straight games with a touchdown. Yeah, that's right. Playing pretty darn well. Aaron Rodgers is leading the MVP race, not only in reality, but also in my heart and soul. Panthers, they got carved up by Drew Lock, so.
Packers.
Can
you stop?
Is what defenses say to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers says, no! Never stop! Never stop. Fine. Yeehawing our way into our next game. You got the Houston Texans taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Texans got blown out by the Chicago Bears. So when you thought things couldn't get worse as a Texans fan,
they did.
Mitch Trubisky looked good. So you done messed up. The Colts, as we mentioned before, were able to crush the Raiders' dreams. The Colts are trying to make that last-minute push to win the AFC South over the Titans, and in order to do so, they're going to have to knock off a fellow AFC South divisional opponent, in which I think they will do.
I think so, too.
Colts. The best thing about your season was firing Matt Patricia-ing into our next game. You got the Detroit Lions taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Lions, well... Wait, what happened with that game?
They lost.
To who?
You, because you're obnoxious.
The Green Bay Packers. The Lions put up a good fight. Listen, they put up a great fight, but it was not enough. The Titans, they dominated. Derrick Henry is a monster. And the thing that I'm fearing the most is that a week from now, we'll be doing Week 16 predictions, and Derrick Henry will be playing against the Green Bay Packers, and I am so afraid. How Jade keeps saying, stop! I'm going to be saying that to Derrick Henry as he runs all over our defense. So I'm terrified. The Titans should win this ballgame, by the way.
Titans.
Bear downing our way into our next game. You got the Chicago Bears riding high off a victory, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, who lost against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember like 2 weeks ago how Vikings were like, we're going to make it. We're going to do it. We're going to sneak in as the 7th seed. Oh, God, that was cute. The Bears, listen, maybe they've turned a corner because you beat a terrible team in the Texans. Now everyone's like, now, this is the offensive firepower that we needed. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to continue. But if it is, I mean, it makes sense. It's against a terrible Vikings defense. So with that being said, I'm actually going to go with the Bears because I believe in Mitch Trubisky. I don't, but I hate the Vikings. Jade, who are you going to pick? Jade. Come on, Jade. I put a needle right through their head. Do you want to root for the Vikings? You could put another needle in there. Maybe like right in the crotchal region. Who are you gonna pick? Jade.
I don't know. I'll just. I'll go with the Vikings.
A death sentence. Making sure Springsteen never wakes up into our next game, you got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the king of the NFC East, the Washington football team. Hail Wildflower. Now, the Seahawks, well, the Jets were winning at 1.3-0.
And then
like 40 points got scored on them. So they were able to rebound after losing to the New York Giants. Meanwhile, the Washington football team was able to knock down the San Francisco 49ers and take the crown for themselves and lay it upon their head. You're yawning. Now, this should be a more competitive football game. The Washington football team has a good defense, and I think they're going to give the Seahawks potential fits. The Seahawks, their offense is looking pretty damn good, obviously lighting it up against the Jets. This should actually be a pretty darn close game. I'm actually going to go with the Seahawks.
I'm going to go with Washington.
Thanks, man. Getting blown out on Thursday night into our next game, you got the New England Patriots taking on the Miami Dolphins. There's nothing good to say about the Patriots and their performance last week, but...
Or the Patriots at all this season.
Haha, got him! The Dolphins, however, put up a pretty good fight against the Kansas City Chiefs, made Patrick Mahomes, vulnerable for like a hot second before he was like, oh, fine, I guess I'll play again. So, respect to the Dolphins. This AFC East showdown should actually be a pretty darn good game, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins to take it here.
Me too!
Flipper. The king has returned in our next game. Gardner Minshew is under center once again for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Why was he out?
Because he wasn't playing that well, and then he got hurt, and it was a whole big thing. Now, even though they got blown out by the Tennessee Titans. Minshew scored a touchdown, and that's all that matters. Taking on the Poopsicles, the Ravens. The Ravens having a battle with the Browns on Monday Night Football, one of the best games all season, and Lamar Jackson left in the middle of the game because he had cramps. But that man had to take a crap, and he came back in, and then he scored a touchdown, which was pretty phenomenal. I've done that.
I mean, people get cramps from, needing to poop.
They gotta poop, right? I mentioned this yesterday on the rankings video. Listen, like when we're teaching, right, and we're like, oh no, it's coming. Like there's a poop train coming, right? And then you finally go and you come back and your class is amazing because like you're just on fire with your teaching. Because you're just I feel so light. I feel so free.
I have a regiment, so I'm pretty much ready every morning.
Oh. It's just me then? I think the Ravens are going to take a dump on the Jaguars.
Even with Minshew?
Even with Minshew. It's going to be poop in the stash.
All right, I'll go with the Ravens.
Man, baby Brady, into our next game. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan is going to stare into Tom Brady's eyes and go, 28-3. 28-3. The Falcons were somehow able to choke more than the Chargers last week, and they blew it. While the Buccaneers were able to take down the Vikings and allow the Packers to clinch the NFC North. So thank you for that, Buccaneers. This might actually be a little bit of a closer game than anticipated. They got to play the Falcons once again, but now since they're both in the NFC South, they're basically twinsies. Falcons, though, are probably going to lose. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers!
What should have been a good game if both teams weren't terrible into our next game, you got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, I said the Cowboys were going to win last week, and they got the W. They got the W against the Bengals. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say that the rest of the year. The 49ers, obviously, we talked about, lost to the Washington Wildflowers. This is going to be a close game because of how terrible both teams are. I'm going to give this slight, you know what? I'm going to give the slight edge to the Cowboys. I have no confidence in that pick whatsoever. They should win this game. They might not, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys because the 49ers haven't looked good.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys too, just because it's a home field advantage.
Yeehaw. Wait, no. It's not home field. That's the Packers Stadium. I hurts myself today. Into our next game, you got Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Arizona Cardinals. It's a battle of the birds. Grandpa Cardinal will be watching, bird watching, and be like, it's a giant eagle. It's a cardinal. Jalen Hurts in his first official start was able to take down the New Orleans Saints last week and rushed over 100 yards, as well as Miles Sanders rushed over 100 yards on a very good run defense of the New Orleans Saints. Meanwhile, the Cardinals were able to defeat the New York Giants pretty easily. This should be a pretty darn good game. Jalen Hurts was electrifying last week. He got two mobile...
Electrifying.
Jade, can we not... I'm really expecting more from you. Okay? So you know what I'm going to need you to do?
Better shape up.
Hoo-hoo.
Cause I need a team. And my heart is set on you.
Hoo-hoo.
Better shape up.
Hoo-hoo.
I don't know where else to go.
I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray is going to be able to do well. So this should be a close game, though.
I'll go with the Eagles.
I have no words. You got the Jets taking on the Rams. Jets, I honestly, what the hell, man?
Jets.
Suck. The Rams have been looking pretty good. They've been looking like a pretty dominant football team. Jared Goff, again, it's hot and cold, but the Jets aren't going to win this game.
Rams.
It's bad.
Rams. Do you think that is there a strategy to being a really bad team?
Yes, it's called tanking.
No, but the strategy behind it is that don't
you get a really good draft pick.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yep.
Is that their goal? Let's throw away this year because we'll get a really good. They have eyes on someone.
Yeah. The best game of the week into our next game. You got the best game of the week in the Chiefs and the Saints. Two powerhouses ready to go to battle. Now, Drew Brees is most likely not going to be playing, so you're going to have Taysom Hill, so there's a little less firepower involved. Listen, if the Saints didn't get blown up by the run game of the Philadelphia Eagles, I thought this would have been a little bit of a closer game. And I would have probably maybe gone with the Saints. But I'm not going to because I've learned not to bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I am going to go with the Chiefs in a very high-scoring game.
Chiefs!
The Cowboys flexed out of this game because they suck. Into our next game, you got the Cleveland Browns taking on the New York Giants. Not really much of a game here either. The Browns, listen. Respect.
Sometimes they got it, sometimes they don't.
And they had it. They did well. You did well. Nick Chubb played well. Baker Mayfield played pretty well, though through that interception really wasn't so great. And listen, the Browns made themselves heard on Monday night. Not just because their team played well, but also because Lamar Jackson pooped. I'm assuming it was brown. I'm assuming.
It doesn't have to be brown.
It doesn't have to, but
maybe he had beets.
Then it'd be red. The Giants getting blown out by the Cardinals, and people were talking about how good they were for a hot second, and then that went away.
Who?
The Giants. Yeah, it
was like one game because you were able to give them the title of New York back.
I think it was like 4 games, yeah. Yeah. But now you're back to the Jersey Giants, so sorry, you've lost the title. The Browns, they should be able to win this game. I'm going to go with the Browns.
Browns.
Slumping our way into our next game, you got the slumping Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. They've lost 2 straight. They were perfect. They were undefeated, and now they've lost to the Washington football team.
But they should win this game.
They lost to the Buffalo Bills. They should win this game. Now, it is a divisional game. Never know. Crazy things could happen. But I think the Steelers are going to bounce back here.
I agree.
But let us know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think is coming out victorious this weekend? Let us know what you think. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. We'll be streaming the Saturday game, not we, but me.
Not we.
I'll be streaming the Saturday night game and then the Chiefs and Saints game. I'll be streaming that this weekend.
Okay.
Jade will be
not.
But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi.
I'm Jade Grossi.
And as always,
bye.
I'm on top. Go Pack Go.